album process took about 2 years. During the writing phase, I had this committed and solitary routine. I would wake up every day at 7ish, and then I'd go for a walk, I'd try to catch the sunrise. Then I'd take a shower, a cold shower, have breakfast outside with my cat on my lap and in a blanket. Even in winter, we would always sit outside. And I always had the same thing. It was like a cocoa porridge with blueberries. I'm very repetitive with meals too. Then I'd make myself a huge mug of coffee, take it to my desk and just pick up where I left off the evening before. Then I just work till noon and cook myself something. I'd go for a run in the afternoon or to the gym, and then I'd just come back and keep working till 9 or 10. And then I'd journal a bit and go to bed and start over again the next day. My two favorite moments were the first sacred mug of coffee in the morning and towards evening when it started to get a bit dark and mystical outside, and I'd turn on some candles on my desk. That atmosphere would kind of help me get in this creative flow, and I loved it. It must sound so boring hearing this now, but I had an amazing time. Mornings are usually better for more dry technical work like producing or rearranging things that are already there. And towards evening at night, I'd get a bit more creative and I could come up with new ideas. I sometimes have pretty good ideas before falling asleep. I still remember breathe in, out. I think I still have a memo on the phone. I recorded the main melody and the lyrics in bed when I was about to go to sleep. I work on one track at a time and I am fully immersed in it. I know it inside out, I know every detail, and it feels a bit like my little creature. And when I am happy with the whole thing, when it feels whole and complete, the harmonies, the melodies, the structure, then I start working on details and producing, orchestrating. And when I had all of the tracks more or less finished, then I wrote the scores and I planned the recording sessions. The hardest parts for me were two things. One was the self-doubt, which I had basically all the time. It was this voice in my head telling me that it's not good enough, that I'm not good enough, that I'm wasting my time, that nobody will care anyway. I don't know, it's like a sabotaging part of me that tries to drag me down. And the tough part was not to let it sink in too much and not to listen and try to stay on track. And the second thing was dealing with the money. The whole project cost about 40,000 Swiss francs. And for a freelance artist like myself, it's a lot of money. And the tough part was taking these bold financial decisions, knowing that I basically had nothing much left on my bank account sitting there in case I failed or in case I made a mistake. And I did make some mistakes, I made some poor decisions, and I definitely lost some of that money. But I don't know, I feel like it's easy to reach such a budget. There are so many people involved, and it was always very important for me to try to pay everyone fairly, even if many of the people working with me are also my friends. I applied for fundings, the only realistic way I could have managed. I sent out about 60 applications and about 5 came back to me saying that they were keen to support the project, and it really helped me a lot. And the rest of the money came from savings, my label and my family, who is amazing and in the end of the day saves my ass. I sold my violin. It was a necessary emergency move that in the end covered about a quarter of the whole thing. The things that I loved the most of this whole process were 2 days. One was the strings and woodwinds recording session. I remember that I was very late on schedule with writing the scores, and I had to stay up very late trying to finish. I just remember that when I heard them play, they were playing the melodies and the things that I had imagined this whole time and that I tried somehow to mimic with MIDI notes. And that was really one of my favorite moments because it sounded good, and I was really proud and happy, and it just felt to me like it was finally also worth it. And the other favorite moment was the listening session of the album, which was also my birthday party. It was the night prior to the album release, and my friends, my family, my label team, they all came to my apartment, and we had pasta, and then we had cake. My sister presented me with a big cake with the artwork of the album printed on it. We ate, and then we just sat all on the floor of my apartment and listened through the whole album, and that moment really filled my heart. I really think that if it wasn't for them, and if they weren't there and I couldn't share all of this that I'm doing with them, I think this whole thing would really not make any sense to me.